All right, in this set of notes, we're going to be looking at the 19th century fine arts in America, concentrating on what the fine arts were and kind of how they help people out. So, just to think about, why did the fine arts become popular in the 1800s in America? Why not earlier in America's history? What role did education play? And does wealth play a role? So think about these questions as we're going through. When you're finished, come back and look at them and see if you have an answer for them. So literature is what we're going to look at first. The Raven, Edgar Allan Poe, is going to play a major role here. We have this movement called Transcendentalism, and it's for you to go beyond what society thinks to form your own beliefs and rely on nature. Society says you should eat right-handed, eat with silverware, and wear certain brands of clothing. Transcendentalists said, do what you think is going to be right. So if you want to use your left hand, go for it. If you want to eat with your fingers, go for it. If you want to wear the cheapest clothes you can find instead of the Nikes or Michael Kors or whatever, then do so. That's okay. Don't worry about what the society thinks. Do what's best for you. Rely on nature. Some famous authors we're going to have are Ralph Waldo Emerson, who's a huge abolitionist. Henry David Thoreau, who we've talked about before, who was jailed for refusing to pay taxes during the Mexican-American War. So you always remember this. This is an example of civil disobedience. Okay, so you'll want to remember that. And Walt Whitman, who wrote Leaves as Grass, which just began poetic free verse movement. Instead of everything being AABB, having a set rhyme scheme, it's going to go through and allow people to go through and say what they want to, make their poetry how they want to. As an example of this, Mark Twain, who's going to write Huck Finn, he's going to use language and show culture of the South. Please do not write this portion, but do go ahead and summarize it. Basically, just tell me what's going on with it, but we'll read it out loud. I hadn't had a bite to eat since yesterday, so Jim got out some corn dodgers and buttermilk and pork and cabbage and greens. There ain't nothing in the world so good when it's cooked right. And whilst I eat my supper, we talked and had a good time. We said there weren't no home like a raft after all. Other places do seem so cramped up and smothery, but a raft don't. You feel mighty free and easy and comfortable on a raft. So this is going to be an excerpt from the book, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, one of his most famous writings. And he's going to use language and it's going to show the culture of the South. This is how people in the South traditionally talked at this point in time and still, in some cases, still do. Other famous authors that we need to know are Emily Dickinson, who is a famous American poet. She wrote unconventional poems about death. She really would never leave her room for most of her life. Became famous after her sister published her poetry after she died. So sister got paid, but Emily Dickinson did all the work. Nathaniel Hawthorne, he wrote a book called Scarlet Letter, a story about Puritan morals and England, in the New England region. Basically, if you think of the movie Easy A, it's kind of playing along the same lines. And then Edgar Allan Poe, who most of you are very familiar with, he's going to be the father of the modern mystery. One of the craziest things about him is he had a 13-year-old cousin that was his wife. She died, and that's when a lot of his writings took a very dark turn. In the music, art and music, the artwork of this period was a lot of nature and man's connection to it. So look at a lot of nature scenes and seeing men in there working. With more educated people, the value of interest of art grows. Basically, the more educated and wealthy you are, the more likely you are to purchase art. The music of this period reflected what was happening in the South, revolving around the North. In the North, basically, it was the religious movement of the Great Awakening. We're going to hear the Battle Hymn of the Republic later on, but this is going to be during the Civil War. Most churches still play it today. Battle Hymn of the Republic. And revolving around the South, we're going to have a concern for state rights, slavery, and so we're going to be, Dixie is going to be the name of the song. It's that song. I'm sure y'all heard it last year enough times, but we'll play both of them, just an excerpt of it so you can hear it tomorrow. John James Audubon was famous for his works of birds, discovered 25 separate species. Still today, you can be part of the Audubon Society, which you go out, note how many birds you see, take pictures of it, that kind of good thing. And then finally, we had the Hudson River School of Artists show a connection of man and nature. So you see a lot of nature scenes with people in there, very minimal when it comes down to it. But they're going to play a major role in this art school to show man, nature, and make sure everything is good.